So, our second reason is their responsibilities in the war. So Yule, on the late afternoon of July 1st, 1863, the Confederate troops finally drove Union defenders from fields west of Gettysburg. So the Union troops fled towards Cemetery Hill because they were losing, and then General Robert E. Lee sent this order to Yule. The enemy is retreating over those hills in great confusion. You only need press those people to secure possession of the heights. Do this if possible. So Yule lost his nerves at a crucial moment, and instead of pursuing the Union soldiers who were so panicked they couldn't defend themselves, Yule held back, allowing the Federals to entrench upon Cemetery Hill. A quote from the report of General Robert E. Lee is, "He met with great success during the early portions of the battle on July 1st, 1863, but he did not continue to assault Union positions, which provided Union troops with the time they needed to reorganize and prepare defenses." So Stuart, on the other hand, was exhausted from traveling, and he had repeated attacks by the Union, so he was already upset by the time he got to the battle, when Southern papers made fun of him for getting surprise attacked. And Lee says that Stuart's men were too exhausted to be of any service, and hundreds, if not thousands, of Stuart's men had abandoned ranks during the ride, had their mounts break down, or were physically unable to perform their duties. So Stuart was worried about his reputation, and Lee actually did not have clear orders, and if they were clear, then Stuart would have obeyed. So Stuart interpreted the orders instead as allowing him to mess with the enemy's communication supplies and etc. That was why he was late to Gettysburg.
Thank you, Dina. Jeb Stuart had a responsibility in the war. He led the cavalry, the Gettysburg War. What is the cavalry, one might ask? Well, I can answer that. Cavalry's responsibility is to find intelligence in the war, to find out what the other army is doing, and to find out what their plan of attack is and how the army should attack the opposing army. And Stuart failed to listen to Lee. Lee asked him to go directly and find the direct route to the Union soldiers. However, he went east and completely missed them and got surprise attacked, and came back and came a day late to Gettysburg War, and providing Lee absolutely no intelligence of what the Union soldiers were planning on doing, and had absolutely no idea what land he was fighting. And here is a quote from a Confederate soldier examining during the meeting after the Gettysburg War. He said, "Rendered at the sight of Stuart, and raised his arm as if he would strike him." Why is that funny? What kind of general could be so mad at a general like that to want to hit him in the face? I'm laughing. Furthermore, by Stuart not providing the intelligence needed for Lee, he actually admitted to it by saying the army was much embarrassed by the absence of the cavalry. What's so funny? Stuart even admitted to his wrong, and he also said that that the army was embarrassed by his absence. And it also not just embarrassed the army, but it embarrassed Lee. And you're probably wondering, why would he just go completely east and just not listen to Lee? Because Lee gave him direct orders to go directly to the Union soldiers. Well, I have one simple answer to that. His ego. His ego thought he knew better ways than Lee. Well, it did not. Thank you.
Okay, so our third reason was their mental state at Gettysburg. So as I said before, upon arriving, Stuart had already been attacked multiple times by the Union, so he was exhausted from traveling, and his men were also exhausted at Gettysburg, so they couldn't fight even if they had gotten there earlier. and as Yahn said, he was worried about his reputation. He had a huge ego, but Lee didn't have clear orders. So if they were clear, then Stuart would have obeyed.
Yes. However, when Yule suggested to attack Cemetery Hill, he was not saying go attack it. Lee said, if feasible, attack them. Why, if before getting to Cemetery Hill, he said that his troops were very exhausted, very tired, and he also saw that he would not win the fight because the Union soldiers were too powerful. Although they were surprised at Union soldiers and he thought they would lose the battle. Stuart, however, he did not want to ruin his reputation, so he just decided not to listen to him and did whatever he wanted to do. And that caused many problems with the war, and possibly causing the loss of the Civil War to the Confederates. Thank you. Would you like to get to counterclaim?
Okay. So, as you said before, Stuart did not head east toward Lee, but his desired route was actually blocked by Union soldiers, so it wasn't really his fault that he couldn't go that way. And yeah.
Again, I might say, Richard Yule was suggested to attack Cemetery Hill. Not a clear message. The reason why he didn't, because he said, quote unquote, they were fatigued and he was worried they would lose. And this was actually Lee's fault for not providing clear orders. Stuart, with his ego, decided to go on his own way. Thank you. We're just going to conclusion, guys.
Okay. So, in conclusion, Stuart was not the cause of the loss at Gettysburg, and instead Ewell was, based on their previous performances, their responsibilities in Gettysburg, and their mental state upon arriving there.
Whilst I wholeheartedly appreciate the effort by my opponent, Dina, I 100% feel as if changing my stance would be inappropriate and unethical, considering how much harm Mr. Jeb Stuart did to the Confederate Army. Not only does it obliterate any hopes of the Confederates winning the war, but to say Mr. Ewell is responsible is absolutely ludicrous. I hope you folks also come to the same conclusion as myself. Thank you.